Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment of our show brought to you by Tennova Healthcare. You know, a diagnosis of prostate cancer doesn't have to be overwhelmingly frightening. Not with Tenova's Men's Health Center of Excellence and their staff of experts. They are ready to give you one-on-one advice, information, treatment options, and support. Support, so key. When it comes to treating and beating prostate cancer, no one in East Tennessee is better prepared to walk you through your fight and to fight that fight with you than Tennova Healthcare. Learn more at Tennova.com. All right. Back with Bob, Jimmy, Mike, and Chuck here. Each of you has a question in our quick slants segment, about a minute each, okay? Bob, Jalen Hurd and Alvin Kamara are saying all the right things about sharing carries this fall, but there's actually been some talk. They're looking at putting both those guys in the backfield at the same time, finding ways to get them both on the field at the same time. Do you think that's a good idea? Or when you are so thin at running back to where really your only backs are Hurd and Kamara, would it be wiser to always have one resting while the other one's out there working?
I think if they put them in the backfield together, you're going to see it on such a limited basis that it's okay to go ahead and do it. I think it'd be something like you'd see it 8, 9, 10, maybe 15 plays a game at the most. Out of what are they going to run? Probably 70 to 80 plays a game. Yeah. So I think you're going to see it a little bit. I think it makes sense to do it a little bit because I've always thought that when you throw in any kind of a wrinkle in football today, it throws the other team off. Everybody's used to paint by the numbers pretty much. So I think I would do it, and I think you will see it. I think it'll just be on a very limited basis to where that wouldn't come into play a whole lot as far as keeping one fresh.
Okay. Jimmy. Charges of theft and selling stolen property dropped in the case of offensive lineman Coleman Thomas, who is back on the team. He's been reinstated, as we mentioned earlier in the show. Former Vol Michael Sawyers, allegedly, was the person behind the theft that landed Thomas in hot water. Anything new or anything else to share on that topic at the moment?
Well, there was a warrant issued for the arrest of Michael Sawyers, a former Tennessee player involved with this incident, the stealing of an Xbox and 3 video games. And so authorities are trying to find Michael Sawyers. The bond is set at $1,000, and that's who they believe is the person that stole those items out of Reese Hall. But they have not arrested him yet, to my knowledge. So anyway, I think that arrest is imminent.
Okay. Next, we got Mike Strange. You wrote this week that Philip Fulmer said that UT could return to the glory days of the late 90s. 45-5 is hard to match, though. Anything's possible, there's no question. But in an expanded, stronger SEC, do you see Tennessee ever going 45-5 again?
It's possible, but that's regardless of the expanded SEC. That's just, like you said, 45-5. That's just almost
unheard of.
It's
Alabama-esque now.
Yes. Yeah. Now, as far as the expanded SEC, you could have a 45-5 stretch and never have played Texas A&M. You know, you only play them every 6-7 years or whatever. So, but Alabama's so good now. Well, then you say, well, then Florida was so good. Three of those 5 losses were Florida.
Yeah.
So it could happen. Tennessee has the resources to do it, but boy, that's asking a lot.
See, the difference I think is you're right. Alabama is now the Florida. But Georgia's better than Georgia was. South Carolina's 1,000 times better than South Carolina was. Auburn, Missouri.
Missouri's better than everybody thought.
Everybody's kind of, not everybody, most of these teams have stepped it up a notch. It was a 2-team race in the 90s, and it's going to take that to come around again before Tennessee, I think.
Mississippi State was number 1 for a while last year.
There you go.
And Ole Miss was number 3.
Yeah. So. All right, Chuck, last one. National champion Ohio State. Pause while I regurgitate. Drew 99,000 fans to its spring game yesterday. And you see photos of it? That's not inflated. That's legitimate. The place seats 104. There were 99,000 there, somewhere in that ballpark. They're talking about Tennessee trying to set a record. That's the new record for spring game attendance. Here's my question, though. 99,000 for Ohio State. Will Tennessee come within 20,000 of that? 79,000 or more?
You know, I don't think so, and I think part of that is you'd have to look at the format. You're so limited with defensive linemen. I mean, what are you going to be able to put out there on the field? I think a 60,000 would be impressive. The Cavaliers line for the spring game would be 55,402.
There'll be people all over Knoxville today gambling on that.
Yeah. I'm going over.
With Chuck, ironically enough. All right. Is Tennessee's schedule especially tough, or especially easy. There's a couple of different ways to look at it this week that came out. We'll discuss Tennessee's schedule, and if I set the over-under at 7.5, which I am, we'll see if these guys go over or under. Come on back on the Sports Source.